All right, so today we're going to be looking at notes for 3.4. The notes are going to be on the two sheets that are on the top of your practice packet, and it's by the Pumpkin. Hopefully you can see them over there. All right, so what you're going to do first is do a little review. To subtract integers, add the opposite of the number being subtracted. So right here, 5 minus 2, we can rewrite it saying 5 plus negative 2, right? So I can rewrite it doing plus opposite 2. So 5 minus 2, since I have a positive 5 and a negative 2, we're going to do subtract. 5 minus 2 is 3. And 5's the bigger number, so it's going to be a positive 3. Okay, don't forget what we've been doing. Right here, minus negative, or opposite of a minus is a positive. So whenever they're next to each other like this, we can rewrite it as a positive 4. So 7 plus 4 is 11. All right, good deal. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to look at subtracting between our binomials, or between our sets of numbers. Before there was an add in between, and now we're going to look at what we're going to do when we have a subtract, okay? So right now we have 7x minus 2x. Well, 7 minus 2 is 5. And they're both x's, so 5x, right? Combine our like terms. Combine our like terms. We have our 7x plus 5. So the first thing, now that we got this parentheses, we are going to have to put that negative inside our parentheses. So this is what's new. Whenever you have a minus in front of your parentheses, we're going to have to do the opposite of everything inside, all right? So we have our 7x plus 5, and then opposite of, since there's a minus in front, opposite of 4x is negative 4x. Opposite of positive 3 is negative 3. All right, so I want to just do this first step before we combine our like terms for each problem. And then we'll go back and put them together. So we have our negative 5x plus 4. And there's a minus in front of our parentheses. Since there's a minus in front of the parentheses, we have to do the opposite of everything that comes after in that parentheses. So we have a minus minus. The opposite of a negative is a positive 2x. Opposite of a negative 5 is a positive 5. So we're just setting up our problems right now. All right, so now let's go back and combine our like terms. X's with the x's. Don't forget to include the term in front. So the sign in front is negative. So this is 7x's minus 4x's gives me 3x's. 5 minus 3 gives me 2. All right, so this is my final answer right there. Just like this was my final answer for that simple problem. Now that I put the negative in the parentheses, I'm ready to combine my like terms over here. Negative 5x plus 2x's gives me negative 3x's. 4 constants plus 5 constant numbers gives me a 9. All right, you can't put the x's and numbers together, so that's my final answer. All right, so again, here we go. So we got a 7x minus 2x, right? That's my 5x just from before. These are similar problems. So we're not going to do the tile method today. So since these are all the same problems, we'll just write them down and move on here. So to subtract the expression, all right, add the opposite of all the terms being subtracted. Okay, so right here, let's practice finding the opposite of some terms. So to find the opposite, what's the opposite? And to find the opposite, we put parentheses around everything here. And we'll put the negative in front, meaning we're going to find the opposite of all this terms. All right? So the opposite of negative 4x, the opposite of this 4x is negative 4x. The opposite of negative 100 is a positive 100y. The opposite of positive 3x is negative 3x. The opposite of positive 9 is negative 9. The opposite of negative 2 is 2x. The opposite of positive 8z is negative 8z. The opposite of positive 9x is negative 9x. The opposite of negative y is a positive y. The opposite of negative b is a positive b. The opposite of negative c is a positive c. Okay? So essentially, whenever you see a negative in front of the parentheses, you got to change everything inside that parentheses to the opposite sign. All right? Write a subtraction problem, then solve. So let P equal a whole pizza. Elmo ordered 10 pizzas. His guest ate 4 of the pizzas. Elmo ate 3 slices of pizza. How much pizza was left? So he ordered 10p. His guest ate 4 pizzas. And Elma ate 3 slices of pizza. How much was left? So if we look here, we're left with 6 p's, right? But then Elmo ate 3 slices of pizza. How much was left? So I would say 6 pieces minus 3 slices, right? There we go. 6 pizzas minus 3 slices. So his guest ate a whole 10 minus 4p. That gave me my 6p. And if Elmo ate 3 slices, it's 6 pizzas minus 3 slices. All right. Here's your second sheet of notes. Okay, let C equal, let's bring this back up. Let C equal a whole case of pop. Big Bird bought 7 cases of pop. That's 7C. His Sesame Street friends drank 3 cases and 5 cans. How much pop was left? Well, 7 starting off minus 3, that's going to give me 4 cases. And then minus my 5 cans. There we go. Boom. All right. What's right here? Bert had 4 boxes of cookies. All right. So B equals a whole box of cookies. So Bert had 4 boxes, 4B of cookies. But 5 of the cookies were missing. Ernie took 2 full boxes, so Ernie, taking is a subtraction. Eating is a subtraction. Drinking is a subtraction. So in this case, Ernie took 2 full boxes and returned the 5 missing cookies. How many cookies were left? So 4 boxes minus 2 is 2 boxes that were left. So the 5 cookies that were missing were returned to made whole. So we don't need to count those like we did these right there. All right. So those are some story problems that you're going to see in your homework. And it's just going to be make sure you turn the words like boxes into B. And the numbers that go with it. So 4 boxes turned into 4B. 5 of the cookies, some of the information is not going to be as important as others. So if the 5 cookies were missing, but then he replaced them, well, negative 5 plus 5, that gives me 0. So I don't need to include that in my final answer. All right? Just to keep that in mind, those kind of things. So the more you practice with the story problems, the better you get. And then finally, in your packet, you're going to have a lot of problems where you're just going to deal with subtracting expressions. So the first part, you notice there's no negative sign in front, right? There's no negative sign in front. So we're going to leave that 8a minus 9. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the opposite. So opposite of 3a, negative 3a. What's the opposite of negative 7? positive 7. So let's set up all our problems, and then we'll combine our like terms. Then we'll put the a's with the a's, numbers with the numbers, all right? So if you look here, there's no negative in front of the 6n plus 5, so I'm going to write 6n plus 5. But now I got a negative here, so I'm going to add the opposite. So the opposite of everything inside here is going to change. So instead of positive 10, I have negative 10n. Instead of positive 8, I'm going to have a negative 8. The first part is going to stay the same. There's no negative. But now I got to add the opposite. So plus negative 3x minus 5. All right. First part staying the same, right? But I'm going to add the opposite. Add the opposite. Negative 5 turns into a positive 5. Negative 6 turns into a positive 6. First part stays the same. There's no negative in front of it. But now I'm going to add the opposite of everything that came next. All right? So plus negative 7a plus 2b plus 3c. All right? I'm going to let you do 6, 8, and 10. But I'm going to set these next couple up. There's no negative in front of here, so it stays the same. But there is a negative in front of here, so I'm going to add the opposite. But there's no negative in front of the 5x plus 2y, so it stays 5x plus 2y. Number 9, we got 7x. There's a negative in front of the 3x minus 8, so that's going to change to adding the opposite. Plus negative 3x plus 8. But there's no negative in front of the 12x. That's not part of the parentheses, so that stays 12x. And then this is a negative, so I'm going to add the opposite for this parentheses. Okay? So I'm going to let you set up 6, 8, and 10. And then if you need help, you can call Mr. K or me over and we'll help you out. Now after you set them up like this, it's just like the last section. You got to combine your like terms. Put the a with the a. So 8 minus 3a. There's my 5a. Negative 9. See how I'm including the minus sign in front? That's a negative 9 plus 7. There's my negative 2. There's my final answer. I'm only going to do 1 through 9. You're going to do 2 through 10. Okay, so I set up 2 and 4, but you got to do 2 through 10. If you need help with 2 through 10, go ahead and call somebody over and we'll work with you one-on-one. Right here for 3, put the x's with the x's. So 6x minus 3x, that's 3x's. See, it's not just 7 and 5, it's negative 7 and negative 5 giving me a negative 12. All right? Right here, we're going to put the a's with the a's. That's 10a. B's with the b's. So negative 5 plus 2b. Right? I'm going to have to subtract those. So it's going to give me negative 3b. C plus 3c. There's my 4c. All right? So there we go. I can only put the a's with the a's, b's with the b's, c's with the c's. All right? And then now we're almost done. We got our 2 z's. Put the z's with the z's. I don't see any other, so I'll just leave that there. Put the numbers with the numbers, 4 and negative 7. Give me negative 3. Then I got my y with the y. That gives me negative 1, y. And then I got my x. And I don't see any other x's, so I'm going to put plus 5x. Alright, so there's my combined like terms. Now mathematicians will sometimes like to go in chronological order, so they'd write the 5x first. As you can see over here, they'd write the 5x first. Then they would do the 1 minus 1y plus 2z plus 2z and then minus 3. See, they do it in chronological order. But for right now, we don't have to worry about that. We'll get there. And then last is put the x with the x's. We got a lot of x's. 7 minus 3, that's 4x. 4x plus 12x is 16. And then 16 minus that 5, we got 11 x's. All right? And then finally we have our 8 plus 16. There's my 14 numbers. All right? So you got to do 2 through 10 now. finish combining these like terms. Make sure you're adding the opposite. Set up these next three. Feel free to rewind the video if you have to. I'll have another video for homework help if you need it. All right? Good luck.